Welcome back to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. This morning, millions of Obama supporters received this email from former campaign manager David Plouffe. The email included a video message from President Obama and instructions on how to pressure Congress to approve the president's budget. Joining us to talk about the power of online communities is Democratic strategist Joe Trippi. And Joe, first on the Obama effort, how's this supposed to work?
It works because you have 13, 14 million people out there that are willing to get active, and the power of these social networks now, the one Obama built, is one that's going to give him a lot of clout getting his budget passed, I think.
One of the most striking success stories recently in online activism came in regards to a foreign policy challenge that we've been talking about on this, Joe, facing the Obama administration. Many of our viewers are familiar with the situation in Zimbabwe. President Robert Mugabe is literally starving 7 million citizens to death and seems determined to undermine a power-sharing agreement with an opposition party that actually won last year's elections. A key member of that opposition party is Roy Bennett, widely viewed as one of the most courageous advocates of democracy in Africa. Last month, on the very day Bennett was supposed to be sworn in as a member of the power-sharing cabinet, he was arrested by Mugabe thugs and thrown in a prison notorious for torture. Joe Trippi brought this injustice to us and to many of you online around the world. The pressure on Zimbabwe's government helped, and Mr. Bennett was finally released a week ago. Roy Bennett joins us now on the phone from Zimbabwe. Mr. Bennett, first of all, how are you doing?
Very good, thank you. And thanks very, very much to everybody that played a part in putting pressure to get me released from the terrible circumstances I was in.
Mr. Bennett, tell us about the conditions in the prison. I understand that there were some prisoners who died. They were left essentially in your cell as a way of intimidating you. Tell us what it was like.
No, absolutely horrific and very basically indescribable. It's the result of a failed state and a dictatorship that has resorted to absolute levels of total human rights abuses by having jails where people are incarcerated with absolutely no means of feeding them or giving them any form of support whatsoever.
Were you aware of the efforts on your behalf by people around the world like Joe Trippi, people who believe very much in the possibility of democracy in Zimbabwe and wanted to make sure that justice is served there? Were you aware of what was going on to try to help you?
Not whilst I was in prison, because obviously the communications are kept at a very low minimum with anybody outside the prison. But once I was released from the prison, I became aware and understood the tremendous effort that Joe did and the people of America did in being able to put pressure on this regime to be able to facilitate my release.
We have Joe Trippi, who's here on the set with us. Anything you'd like to say to him, and Joe, is available to respond back, Mr. Bennett.
No, just to say, Joe, you know, I have no words can describe the thanks